Now, here in Nigeria, the rollouts have begun of new redesigned Naira banknotes. The central bank says its aim is to reduce the amount of cash in circulation so that it can better control liquidity, curb inflation, and move towards a cashless economy. Those with bank accounts are required to bring their old notes to a bank branch before the end of January next year, and they will have the corresponding amount credited to their accounts. The millions of Nigerians who do not have bank accounts can exchange their old notes for new ones at banking agents. Well, to look at this in more detail and what it'll mean for the many Nigerians who exist without regular or even any bank contact, I'm joined by the public policy analyst Chibuzo Okereke. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. And we saw the Nigerian Senate urging the central bank to, first of all, adjust the limit on cash withdrawal. There have also been concerns raised about this redesign of the currency and what the implications are. What is your assessment of that?
Well, what I would say, there are many things that are involved in the issue of policy design, policy implementation, and what have you. One of the key things you look at is the operational and political feasibility of any policy. If you look at this particular policy of the CBN, you will discover that it's not enjoying a holistic political feasibility. There are divisions. For instance, it seems he has the ear of the president and nobody else. And then, of course, the CBN Act provides that he should regularly engage with the National Assembly, who also represent the people. And if you look at the CBN and currency, it's something that is exclusive for the federal government. So the only chance the subnational gets to, lend their voice in the policy process is through the National Assembly. And that's why the Act wants the CBN to engage. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. You also look at operationally, how do you deploy and effectively bring about the goal of this, policy 24? You will discover that the infrastructures are not there, because of the nature of our economy. It is a cash-driven economy with at peripheral levels, with a lot of people functioning from the unbanked sector, a lot of people from the informal sector, and at the same time, CBN is promoting financial literacy and inclusion. And this already, because of the number of people in the informal sector whose only meaning of money or legal tender is cash.
Right.
Not figure.
But I know you're also an activist, and I'm wondering what you think of the other objectives of the central bank and the Nigerian government in this regard. Will it succeed in preventing corruption, for example, stopping people from hoarding the currency notes, etc., or is redesigning the notes not proportional to reducing corruption?
Well, what I think, even the CBN has acknowledged that this was perhaps very hasty decision. They didn't have time to do a lot of things. When people criticize even the currency design, they said we didn't have enough time, and that was why we had to do this. So yes, for what I know about economics, banking, and what CBN monetary policy tools, open market operation, persuasion, and what have you, this has not followed that trend. And again, at a time, we have a lot of people from the informal economy. If people are asked to bring their monies to the banks, and now immediately you are giving regulation as to the fact that they are not going to be able to access as much as what they are putting in, that also is going to affect their confidence. So, there are good and also not so good aspects of it. So maybe it will address issues of vote buying with cash, but we cannot say that about vote buying with the instrument of fintech, because politicians are creative and smart, and they are not willing, to let go. Also, that while we are promoting this cashless thing, it's not the same with the forex, the dollars. Many of the dollar transactions are on a cash basis. So you are going to push demand for more dollar, why you are, closing the space for, for Naira. So maybe a lot more engaging, tools, persuasion, understanding, policy explanation will help for people to understand that holding back the Naira, above the control of the central bank is actually damaging our economy, causing inflation and, other things.
Right, but let's be clear, though, that the central bank has said that this is not written in stone. And you can, for example, the issue around withdrawal of funds, I mean, they've placed a limit on the amount that you can withdraw, but they're saying that you can go above that, you'll just get charged.
Even the policy is in play now. In Abuja, for instance, third-party check can't exceed 150,000. For companies, for individual withdrawal, 500. Companies, I think 3 million or so. So there is some kind of regulation that is already, in play. Now we are now going further to reduce that. The challenge is not about this regulation, but the implication of the regulation to a struggling economy. And that is the conflict in policy design. Like there is something they really want to achieve, but many other things are going to be affected. For how long, I do not. My personal take is that probably all these steps have been taken to reduce the rate of vote buying so that the election could be credible. And I hope so that after the election, CBN could relax some of the policies, because as you know right now, we are having penetration of financial services in our rural communities. And like I said, the only thing they understand as legal tender is the note in their hands, not figure. So we should allow that penetration to flow seamlessly so that a lot more people can be brought into our economic ecosystem.
And of course, in fairness to what you're saying, this is also the Christmas period, and many such people need cash in their hands to complete whatever transactions they're doing. And I imagine there'll be pressure on people to return money to the bank in this short period.
Absolutely. And the infrastructure to deliver e-payment is not reliable, enough in Nigeria. And also, even if it's reliable to some people, because of our literacy level, whether educational literacy or financial literacy, you've got to deal with the psychology of the people, because psychology is important in economy. If I go to a bus station and decide to transfer 13,000 to Peace Mass, they have to confirm the money before I'm able to board their bus.
Absolutely.
But if I give them cash, there will be no that. So the confidence on cash, helping our economy is critical, and this could, affect it. So there should be a kind of balance that allows, companies or businesses that could be affected, some kind of intervention or realization, for those people. Yeah.
That's a good point. On that note, I want to thank you very much indeed. Chibuzo Okereke is a public policy analyst.